Welcome to the Learning Lab Class Podcast 101. My name is Melissa, and I'm one of the Adult and Teen Services Librarians at the Arcadia Public Library. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Google Podcast app on an Android device. So let's go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, the thing that you're going to want to remember when we go through this class is that my device is going to look different than your device, but they will generally work the same. My apps are going to be in a different place. I'm going to have different apps than you, but the concepts are going to translate to your Android device. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and right up the top, we're going to open the Play Store. So I'm going to click on the Play Store. And this opens the place where I am able to search for and download apps. So I am going to search for Google Podcasts. That is the name of the app that Google uses for podcasts. And you'll notice that as I was typing, some predictive text does come up. So you don't have to type the whole thing out. If it starts to find what you need, you can just click on it. I'm going to go ahead and click on that first result. And you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's that green install button. And I'm going to want to click on that in order to install it onto this device. So let me go ahead and hit that. We're just going to give it a minute to download. It won't happen instantaneously. It will need a second to use some data, usually your Wi-Fi, just to download it and get it onto your device. Now, you'll notice that now under the name of the app, there are two options. There's uninstall and there is open. So I can go ahead and just click open if I want to launch this app right away. But actually, I want to show you on the home screen. I'm just going to hit the home button. Okay, so I am going to find the app on my device. It's not on this page. Oh, look, it's over here on this page. So I have found the app icon, so I'm going to go ahead and open that. And it's going to open and it's going to default, if you'll notice along the bottom, to the Explore tab. The Explore tab is just the jumping off point where you can search for or browse for different podcasts that you might be interested in. So you'll notice up top, right up top, there is a search bar. So you can click in there and search for something if you were looking for something specific. It also has a For You tab, just based on your Google account. And then you'll notice next to that, there are different tabs right up top on different genres. And there will, on each of those tabs, there will be featured podcasts. And then below that, featured episodes. So different topics will have different recommended podcasts. So let's say that I am interested in this Stuff You Should Know podcast. That sounds interesting to me. When you find something that piques your interest, you're going to want to go ahead and you can just click on it. And this page will bring you to a little bit more information about the podcast. So right up top, it's got a description of what the podcast is. And then you'll notice that below, there are literally 1,600 episodes. And you can click on any of those and it'll bring you to more information about that individual episode if you want to read more. I'm going to just back up by hitting that back arrow in the upper left corner and talk to you a little bit about what we're seeing here on the screen. So if I'm interested in a podcast and I would like to add it to my rotation, you can go ahead and click subscribe. And what subscribe will do is it'll bring up this options menu. And you have the option to automatically download new episodes and or get notifications for new episodes. So if either one of those settings is something that you would like to do, you can go ahead and just toggle that on, just depending on what you want your account to do. I'm going to leave both of those off for right now and then just click out of there. And you'll notice that the top, the subscribed is now checked off and I am subscribed to this podcast. And I'll show you where that shows up in a minute. Now down below, we've got individual episodes and there is the triangular little play button next to the length of time. And if I were to click on that, it's just going to start playing the episode. I also have two other buttons right next to that. The one right next to it with the plus sign is add to queue. And a queue is essentially the order in which episodes will play. You build it sort of like a playlist. And then the circle with the downward arrow is if I wanted to download it locally to this device. So if I wanted to go ahead and download it to this device so that I can play it where I don't have an internet connection, I can go ahead and do that. You'll also notice that these two upward arrow and downward arrow on the right-hand side, that is how it's sorting. So right now it's sorting newest first, but I can reverse sort that. If I'm starting a new podcast that maybe doesn't have 1,600 episodes, I can reverse it so that I'm starting at the beginning and not at the latest one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and back out of this, and we're back to that search Explore screen. Again, you can search up top if there was something in particular you were looking for. And it gives you podcast hits or results right up top. And if something that you search for was, say, maybe not a specific name of a podcast, if it was maybe a topic, any episodes that relate to that topic will show up below. So let's say I also want to subscribe to this one. I'm going to go ahead and hit subscribe. You'll notice I didn't get those pop-up menu from this screen, but I can still, if I wanted to adjust my settings for this podcast, go to the page and click on subscribe, and it gives me those same options. If I change my mind about wanting to be subscribed to this podcast, I would just go ahead and hit unsubscribe. So let's talk a little bit more about the two icons that you see down on the bottom. This first icon on the left-hand side called Home, right now, because when I opened this app, I didn't have anything saved. I hadn't used this account before. It doesn't have anything. If I pull down on the screen, it's going to refresh, and I'm going to get all of the information that I just added to my account. So I subscribed to these two podcasts, and you see them right up top. And then you'll also see in reverse chronological order the latest episodes from all of these podcasts. And from here, I can listen to them, I can download them, I can add them to my queue, whatever I would like to do. Now, on the right-hand side, under that activity button, let's take a look at what is there. So first is this queue. So the queue, again, is where you can add episodes and then it will play them in that order. So if you're going to be driving and it's going to be longer than one podcast episode and you want to add a couple to your queue so that one plays right after the other, you can do that. The second tab is downloads. If I had any episodes downloaded locally to this device, they would show up here. History, episodes that you have listened to will show up here. And then finally, subscriptions. This is another place where you can manage your subscriptions for the podcast. I just have these two right now. You can manage them by clicking on the little pencil in the upper right side and then check them off. And then it lets you, under the under the menu, delete them under the little circle with the through line. The ... on the upper right-hand corner also has settings, and these are settings generally for your account. You have options about downloading, auto-downloading, how long you want to retain episodes you've completed listening to. If you haven't listened to an episode, how soon after you haven't listened to it but have downloaded it, do you want it to be deleted? So this is the place to look for additional account settings. So in this video, we covered how to download an app from the Play Store, the basics of navigating, searching, and listening to a podcast in Google Podcasts. And in our next video, we're going to be taking a closer look at other podcast apps. So feel free to leave us a comment below or reach out to library staff if you have any additional questions or we can be of any further assistance.